Well, that was a nail biter. You dudes, Orin here. Oh, wow. The Lions pulled out a nail biter, last second field goal, but they had all the advantages at the right exact time late in the game with all their timeouts and uh, was able to run it when they needed to. Offense could do anything that they wanted to when they needed to there. They had the ball, had the advantage at the right times, and uh, got the game-winning field goal, 41-38 victory. And there is a lot to talk about in this game. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Keenan Allen is probably going to be in my nightmares tonight if I have any. I shouldn't now. Candidate for Offensive Player of the Week. Just everything he's able to do. Justin Herbert was Justin Herbert. Even Quinnen Williams, who I scouted in the draft, did a little bit of damage here. It's kind of his coming out game against us, unfortunately, but there was a lot going on, and I actually took notes from this game. So, wow. Let's just start by reviewing the statistics real quick. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to monitor my blood pressure quite a bit after this. Jared Goff, 23 for 33, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Justin Herbert, 27 for 40, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. By the way, I predicted this game, the Lions to win like 41-31, and it came somewhat close. I knew this was going to be a shootout type of game, so I kind of tempered my expectations after the Chargers last Monday night football game based on that performance, but I realized, oh yeah, the Jets defense is super good. So anyways, David Montgomery, 12 carries, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gibbs also had 3 receptions for 35 yards. And meanwhile, Chargers rushing, Austin Eckler, 19 carries for 67 yards, 1 touchdown. Detroit receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 receptions, 156 yards, and 1 touchdown. Sam Laporta had 4 receptions for 40 yards. He didn't get going until late when he needed to get going, when he was clutch. The Cardinals just beat the Falcons, by the way. Anyways, Khalif Raymond, 2 receptions for 46 yards. Brock Wright, 2 receptions for 23 yards. He had a key touchdown as well. And then Chargers receiving, Keenan Allen, 11 receptions, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Man, that we had no answer for Keenan Allen, I tell you what. And then Quinnen Williams, 4 receptions for 34 yards and 1 touchdown. And then Jalen Guyton, 4 receptions, 41 yards, and then 1 touchdown. Just 1 tackle for loss for the Detroit Lions on their side, and that was from Cameron Sutton. And then Derwin James Jr. for the Chargers had 2 tackles for loss for us, as 1 each for Kenneth Murray Jr. and Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. And then Kirby Joseph had an interception early in the game, which is always nice. So Jamison Williams almost had a reception touchdown, but it was called back because of a Taylor Decker penalty. If the Lions, I swear, have any weakness, it's their 2 star tackles getting penalties at the most inconvenient times. So once again, you guys got to clean that up. I won't spend too much time on that because you guys know how I feel about that. So Lions defense started off pretty decent, did what they had to do in the first half, and then like the defense, it seemed like a decline there, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'm referring to my notes, which I finally decided to take. Anzalone had that blitz, and then the quarterback was forced to get rid of it, and then the Kirby Joseph intercepted it. Reminded me of that Packers last play from the last play of last season that I saw in person. And then, the Lions were like 4th and 1 for like a while, but the Chargers defensive line showed up and they stopped them even when they went on 4th down. It was a turnover on downs there, but then the Lions got right back in that same situation on offense, and then they finally got the touchdown. So one thing I noticed, like early in the game, it seemed like with each drive, like David Montgomery was getting the ball for rushing the majority of the time. on that side, on that drive. And then Jahmyr Gibbs would get it on the other time. So Montgomery's first game back in a while. So, and then Gibbs, he had some touchdowns. So he was key there. He was clocked at running up to 22 miles per hour at one point. And then even the key Montgomery play, that was one of the keys of the game, 75 yards touchdown. And he answered on the very first play, and it's so good to have Montgomery back because you have to plan for him no matter what he does. And even Jameson Williams had a good block to help out with that one. Similar to back in the Tampa Bay game when Craig Reynolds had that block for St. Brown and got that key touchdown. And then, fun fact, I had got a Charlie horse in my leg at the exact moment that touchdown took place. And then by the time it got to 3 minutes and 7 seconds into the second quarter, almost to the 2-minute warning, the Detroit Lions already had 302 all-purpose yards, total yards, which was crazy, Just goes to show how electric our offense can be once we have Montgomery back. And Jonah Jackson was back as well, even though I thought he was a little bit rusty. I know that that the drive where they failed to score at the 4th and 1 or whatever, one of those was because he wasn't quick enough when he pulled to try to block out the defender that got to tackle for loss there. So I thought Jonah Jackson was a little bit rusty based on that, but aside from that, I didn't notice any mistakes from him. And then, Keenan Allen was we had no answer for him except him getting injured, which you never want to see injury on anything, but that was the only time when he was out. And, he kept getting evaluated and that sort of thing. And then I thought Jameson Williams made a little bit more progress in this game. He could have had a touchdown if it weren't for the penalty, but he had a couple of nice catches throughout the game. And I noticed Rodrigo at fullback at one point doing some blocking. I was like, whoa, number 44, what are you doing out there? And then Lions were on the lower side in terms of percentages on converting on third downs for a lot of that game. So, and then I thought it was the right call at that one point to punt, even though they were closer to the middle of the field. And then because even though Patterson is great, and I'm thankful for him now, he's not rangy. So, Dan Campbell learning from his decision-making mistakes from earlier in his season and in his career and all that. So even though San Diego did do a touchdown drive that started at their 8-yard line based on that, but, it ate up some clock there. And, the Hutchinson was getting quarterback pressure every now and then, but no sacks, and then nothing from the rest of the defensive line or the edge rushers. I mean, come on, guys. I guess we really did need to trade for Sweat at the trade deadline. So I guess I was wrong on that one. So ever since the Baltimore game, you guys have been silent. So, but that being said, your rush defense was key, very key in this game. And I'm going to get to that in a second here. And, Amon-Ra St. Brown is also a key MVP candidate in my heart. Probably won't get anywhere near it, but he is definitely a key. That pass down the middle from the play action, the bread and butter play, as I like to call it, that happened. And then just like a play, you just get some blockers in front of St. Brown, then on the edge, then watch him work, watch him cook, and then they'll get those touchdowns. So if you need a clutch play, get the ball to St. Brown and get some blockers in front of him and watch what happens. And then, Cameron Sutton, I thought did as well as he could have covering the people that he covered, but then he had a couple of key penalties, which also kind of kept that in goal drive going for an extra set, because I guess by rule you get a first down at the 1-yard line from that if it's pass interference in the end zone or whatever the penalty was. And then, there was that Chargers were about to score, and for 8 plays, I know they finally passed to Quinton Williams for a touchdown on that play, but the fact that on the QB sneaks, all those Lions defensive players were able to stop them, and it got frustrating to them. And Jack Campbell was in the middle of it for several of those plays, and man, was he clutch there. I'm really glad we have him. He's the perfect dude, in my opinion, there. And it's so much so that Justin Fields, or no, sorry, not Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, I had to get evaluated because there was blood coming out of his mouth for how much he was trying to QB sneak it and then failed for several times there. So I was despite them scoring the touchdown, I was really impressed with the run defense right there on that one. And then Laporta barely did anything in this game right up until like late in the game when he was clutch. Brock Wright also had a clutch touchdown, which was awesome. And wow, did we need that? And then the Lions were finally able to, even though it was a back and forth tied game for a while. So Detroit got off to a lead, and then the Chargers were able to catch up. But Detroit that's why it's always important to get in the lead early, because then if they catch up, then you can still get the ball back where you have the advantage. And the Detroit Lions were able to do that toward the end of the game with all of their timeouts. And then on the back and forth, being like the first one to be in the advantage to get the points you need at the right time, and then run the clock down right when you need it. And that's exactly what they did. They nailed it at the spot that they wanted. And then Riley Patterson was able to kick a 41-yard game-winning field goal. And it's all history, but man, was that a nail biter game. So the Chargers are a good team, don't get me wrong. So I was underwhelmed with their passing last week, but they can run the ball when they need to, and they can pass the ball when they need to, despite their injuries and everything. And their defensive line is no joke. So we beat a good team today. And, it wasn't pretty, but the Lions got the win. And, what are we now? 7-2. We extend our lead. I know the Vikings won today, but that's probably the last difficult opponent the Lions have, or right up until we face Dallas. Though a lot of potential trap games, so we gotta still play tough. They still gotta play tough against these teams and really make a statement for themselves. But this was a great game. I'm sure everybody would have loved to get this game on their TVs for the ratings and everything. So, because it was that type of game. I predicted the Lions would win 41-31 in this game, and it got similar close to that. I knew it would be an offensive shootout. So, and that's how it turned out. But man, was it clutch. And they needed to do what they needed to do for the wins. So that's pretty much all I have for this. Who do we play next week? Probably like Chicago or something like that. My mind is still frazzled from that game. Like, I'm trying to relax because I'm relaxing because I know we got that win. So, until next time, go Lions, one pride.